Dear students, good afternoon everyone. In this section today we are discussing about one of the beautiful content enter of the 15th point of with regards to the 15th point of that topic name is environmental modifications. So especially environmental modifications point of we must and should study about knowing about three types of sub aspects, including of the dams, land use changes, and urbanization. So our topic is environmental modifications, including of dams, land use changes, urbanization. So disaster environment and development are interconnected. Yes, those are interconnected and mean nothing but disaster, environment and development. All three aspects are interconnected and various factors are influence vulnerability to disasters, particularly when considering the impact of developmental projects and environmental modifications. These modifications, such as the construction of the dams, land use changes, and urbanization, can both mitigate and accelerate a disaster risk depending on how they are planned and exhausted. And here are some of the key factors that affected vulnerability. So nothing but of the disaster management point of risk reduction point of disaster risk reduction point of disasters or environment and development. These are all factors, maybe these are all aspects interconnected. Various factors influence the vulnerability point. Vulnerability means nothing but of the weaknesses, lack of the resources, poor infrastructure, those we are called vulnerability conditions to disaster. And particularly when the consideration the impact of the development projects, if you want to be developed any project, maybe whatever may be that project development purpose, we should be required some resource and resource now. So without resource we can't develop. So nothing maybe land resources, water resources, nothing but of the technological resources, all the resources must and should help for the to increasing of the development, and the project will be sustainable point of sustainable existing point of those all will be required. And also these modifications such as construction of the dams and land use changes, urbanization can might be excredible of the disaster risk. Yes, for example, maybe sometimes one kind of situation point of when we are dams constructed for the to prevent of the controlling of flood controlling purpose, we should be constructed of the dams. The same time of land modification, land use changes. For example, nowadays empty land where you have to identify and observe that simply count as a real estate point of or in commercial sector point of only they are thinking as a disaster management point of or maybe disaster risk reduction point of. So any empty land will be should be we have to be designed, have to be thinking about how to develop a forest, how to develop agriculture process, how to convert that empty land, how to convert to the greenery point of or greenery concept is how we are increasing that empty land. That kind of when we are thinking the maximum those are thinking those are process maximum prevent by the disasters also. Otherwise until maybe urbanization point of everywhere, real estate point of everything has to be converted as concrete point of a number of buildings, number of apartments, number of industries, number of concreted materials we have constructed. Those are now and present and future maximum creating negative impact. Those are one of the main drawback vulnerability point of those are must and should cause number of disasters will be occur will be happen in those particular areas. So what it may be must and should the environmental modification should be related to the environmental eco-friendly nature point of environmental benefit point of, not to be environmental harm point of. Okay, next one. So impacts of development projects. So dams and reservoir points of. So when we are consider dams and reservoir point of, two types of aspects: the positive impacts and negative impacts point of. Now we are discussing about the positive impacts related to the dams and reservoir point of. So dams can provide benefits such as flood control, irrigation, hydroelectric power, and water supply, which can improve the resilience of the communities. So dam can provide benefits such as flood control purpose, irrigation purpose, hydroelectric power purpose, and water supply purpose, which can be improve the resilience of the communities. So nothing but of the dams are properly maybe across a river. Any civil engineering construct a concrete type of structure that we are called dam. The dam must the dam constructed for the flood controlling purpose, and also that flood controlling purpose at the same time of water storage point of what we are storage that stored water which we must should use it domestic needs point of, industrial needs point of, or irrigation point of. Maybe that water will be nothing but of the high elevation to the bottom of the turbine's rotation point of, we have to must be producing hydroelectricity power. So maybe the water supply as a domestic needs point of also we have to be utilized. So the image 1 and 2 represented by the dams and reservoir related images. Number 1 is represented by the dam and reservoir, and second one is only dam purpose that project. Okay, next. Negative aspects. What are the negative aspects of the dam and reservoir construction point of? Poorly planned dams are those are the seismically activity zones. So and can be lead to the catastrophic failures and causing downstream flooding, displacement, and loss of life. And dams also alter a natural river system, impacting water quality and as ecosystem, and sometimes leading to the silting of the land downstream and further increasing vulnerability to the flooding. So nothing but of the maybe the dam, reservoir, and construction should be considered proper suitable areas only. For example, unfortunately, without not having awareness, not having knowledge point of, we should construct or build any dam and reservoir at seismic zone areas. That seismic zone areas maximum having high seismic activities. So must should positive for the earthquakes. Those earthquake point of maybe any dam will be failure. The lacks of cusic water stored in the dam, that water will be simply flowing surrounding low elevated areas. The entire low elevated area fully covered with by the dam water, dam storage water. So much we are facing a number of we are facing the flood problems. Yes. At the same time, maybe downstream having not stable foundation will be there. So that particular point of that foundation will be eroded. Maybe simply the river flowing directions will be changed. Those path or direction will be changed. That change is also caused for the floods also. So at the same time of number continuously that flowing of the water, river water. So particularly that water must should having by the some silt formation. That silt will be deposited in front of the houses in on the streets or on the agricultural land formation also be. So maybe those water may be maximum maybe dam failure or maybe dam structure failure or maybe dam tributaries rivers also failure, maybe structural problems point of any failures, whatever it may be. So mainly two or three types of losses will be. First of all, huge loss of life will be happen in the way of flood point of, or maybe contaminated water point of, what maybe that overlapping water point of. If agriculture crops also affected, property also affected, loss of life will be affected, loss of life will be happen. The environmental area most drastically affected. So is a negative impact when these are all will why will happen because of we are not properly planned construction point of any dam and reservoir. Next, infrastructure projects. So roads, bridges, and other infrastructure can provide a safer access to areas prone to disaster, but may also encourage settlement in risk locations. Example, floodplains and coastal zones due to improved connectivity. So infrastructure projects nothing but as infrastructure means resource availability and construction of the structural measures. Structural measures means nothing but of the civil engineering with help of civil engineering point of number of concrete structures we should be developed, we should be built, we should be installed, we should be enhanced. Nothing but roads, bridges, and other infrastructures can provide safer access. So safely monitoring or safer access point or maybe safely sustainable point of living purpose or maybe sustainable purpose must we must should provide making with number of roads and bridges and other infrastructure also. So disaster but may also be encouraged settlement in risky locations, example floodplain areas, coastal zones to improve the connectivity. So nothing but of the any coastal zone, for example, in having any river areas, we should be high level of any bridge will be constructed. Maybe in case of any flood will be occurring surrounding areas, those are easily pass off that river, easily pass that river. Maximum they have to be save their life point of. And we establish the coastal zone, especially coastal zone point of in front of coastal area, must consider the tallest wall. So maybe that particular area's floods also prevented. Nothing but at cyclone time, the sea or ocean waves must comes forward on land surface. So those water not to be disturbed the routine life, so normal life, coastal life system not to be affected purpose. We should be considering the tallest wall. So whatever will be these infrastructure enhanced point of number of structures will be constructed. Those structures maximum prevent the disaster risk. Next, land use changes, agriculture expansion. So nothing but of the nowadays, for example, population point. Why we are land use change, agriculture expansion point of because of 1947, our population is having the only 35 crores only, but now our population 150 plus crores. So land should not be increased. So population day by day, month by month, year by year, month, so the census number will be rapidly increasing. So here, land agriculture expansion point of mushrooms should we doing some max space mushrooms removed by the forest content that for that removed forest area must convert as a for agriculture process point of. So what we are saying, land use changes such as converting forests or wetlands or agriculture lands. So already told you because of that much of population problems, population required food requirements fulfill point of view, mushrooms should remove by the all forest content that forest content as well as convert as the agriculture process. Maybe forest or wetlands into the mushrooms convert as agriculture land formation, land point of land, agriculture land related point of after increasing the vulnerability of the communities. These lead to the loss of natural buffers. Wetland acts as a natural flood control, reduce the biodiversity and soil degradation, which can be heightened impact of the disaster like floods and droughts. In the theme of the that greenery percent of the maybe any forest content or maybe any wetland formations mostly reduced by the soil erosion, sedimentation process, flood controlling purpose, those are most helpful. So at the same time of maintain good ecosystem. So when we are both are will be maintained that particular area having particular rainfall, not having chances will be occurrence of any drought conditions. If in case we have to be removed by that lands as agricultural process point of land will be land use changes will be doing extend by the agriculture process agriculture land. So maximum we should be removing by the forest content, deforestation process will be going on activated. Wetland also be minimum. So the droughts will be happen. The droughts will be happen. So why? Because of we are not properly maintained such as required greenery content. Next. So deforestation. The direction of the forest reduce the land's ability to absorb rainwater, increases runoff, and leads to more frequent and severe flooding, landslides, and soil erosion. So the destruction of the forest reduce the land's ability to absorb the rainwater and decreasing runoff and lead to the more frequent and severe flood, landslides, and soil erosion. The thing about the deforestation process maximum reduced by the land, reducing by the when we are doing of the when we are doing by the deforestation process that will be must ensured. Soil erosion will be high and also soil erosion will be high. The same time of water rainwater will run off very high. So at particular condition must ensure we are facing severe flooding conditions, landslides and soil erosions mostly happen. Why? Because of the plants will be simply fold the soil and also harass the soil not to be displaced. When we are removing of the forest content tree content, automatically the soil will be empty, not to be covering for any greenery content. It will simply eroded. It simply displaced. It simply flooding point of top of the soil we are lost. Okay. Next one. urban expansion. So as cities expand, more natural land is paved over or developed, reducing the land's abilities to absorb the water and leading to an increase in urban flooding. The conversion of the rural lands to the urban settings can also increase the risk of the heat waves due to the urban heat island effect. So nothing but see the images. Every image having number of constructed houses will be there. So everywhere having with concrete related structures will be there. If any rainfall will be happen, that rainfall how it will be infiltrated, how it will be entered subsurface of the earth. So it particularly maybe rainwater must and should having runoff, high runoff. Infiltration process is zero. It should be having high runoff. So that particular condition that everything urban areas most affected by the flood area. For example, small rainfall will happen. Metropolitan city of Hyderabad or maybe Vizag or maybe any Chennai or maybe any Bangalore city is mostly having by the flood problems. Why? Because of everywhere having concrete mania, that water cannot be moved infiltrated by subsurface of the entire rainwater will be only flowing on surface of the lands, on surface on the streets, and surface of the roads. So that way most of all floods will be happen. So urban expansion is mostly caused for the flooding point. At the same time, of high winds will be there because of concrete simply heated. That heat will be existed by the concrete material. So nothing but of the everywhere having concrete material areas must and should having high heat content, not having low atmosphere, low temperature conditions. Next. So urbanization, population density and settlement patterns. Urbanization of the land leads to the high population density, particularly informal settlement of the slums and where the typical location in the hazard-prone areas. Flood zone slopes also near the industrial zones. The communicate are often inadequately prepared by the disasters. So maybe nothing but of the population density is one of the cause. The density the population or density settlement patterns point of where having available resources, number of job opportunities point of the persons will be settled there. The same time of the peaceful life settling point of or available resource point of the population will density will be particularly more. For example, you take Hyderabad. So all states of peoples will be present in that Hyderabad city because of the day-to-day life, day-to-day money earning point of or work opportunity point of if any business point of number of peoples will be sustained that particular Hyderabad city. So like the population will be increasing that we are another but we are called urbanization. The urbanization also caused for the main caused for the one of the causes for the disastrous point of so industrialization zones or maybe flood zones, maybe everything will be affected due to the population density point of also. So next, inadequate infrastructure. So rapid urban growth can be up and downs will be the development of necessary infrastructure. Example, drainage system, emergency response missions, increasing the vulnerability of the urban populations to the disasters like floods, storms, and heat waves. Heat waves. Nothing but of the damaged bridges and also the flood related waters, the urban areas. The same time of combustion of the waste materials. These all will be inadequate infrastructures. Nothing but of the bridge will be failure because of lack of money point or lack of resource point of we should facing that problem very impactedly. The risk is very high. At the same time, not having proper drainage system, not having infiltration across urban areas. The second image represented. See the entire of the national highway, two-way highway, maximum covered with the flood water. So here maximum improperly with open areas must we are doing by the burning, plastic materials burning, that will be maximum caused for the pollution. That pollution also caused for the disastrous point of okay. Next, environmental degradation. So, urbanization of a leads to the disaster destruction of the natural buffers, wetlands, forests that protect against the natural hazards. Moreover, urban areas trend to the greenery, green generate high level of pollution, contributing to environmental degradation and making the region more vulnerable to disasters. Nothing but of the environmental degradation. Nowadays, day by day, the environment will be degraded. Why? Because of we are not properly doing waste management processes, waste management aspects and policies and rules and regulations. we can't strictly monitored. So max entire waste we have to open place we have burned at the same time of all beautiful resources are converted as a dry and also empty formation point of number of industries has to produce by the toxic gases. Everything the environmental day by day it will be decreasing. That is one of the main causes for the disasters point of also. Thank you very much, my dear students. If you're having any doubts, so please contact me, and also maybe otherwise having, please text me. I will give the answer as soon as. Thank you very much. So we end this section also.